all starts with, you have to sell yourself on the belief in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself and you're not selling yourself that you're capable, you're not going to be able to do anything. But I think females honestly have an advantage in the sales world because, you're communicating with a lot of men there as well. And like men typically don't want to say no to a female. Sales is so good because you learn so much, and everything is sales. You go to the restaurant, it's sales. Like you're selling someone on yourself, even in a relationship. So everything is sales. If you can learn that, you're basically golden for anything.
What's going on, millionaires? It's your guy Kai Speaks back for another episode of the $1 Million Mind podcast. Heavy House Jazz is not in the building today. She is heavy under the weather. So, we're going to get this show on the road. But we have an amazing guest in the building today. And talking to her off camera and behind the scenes, just learning a little bit about her business. I remember the last time we checked in, like so many things have changed. And I know so many things changed for you guys as you're dibbling, dabbling in so many different business ventures, trying to figure out which one is going to be the one for me. Kai, we hear it. We on the $1 Million Mind podcast. We're trying to learn these 9 to 5. We're trying to learn how to get out of this 9 to 5, but I can't figure out which one. I always run into these obstacles. So, I'm fortunate enough to have this conversation with our guest today because she's done seen it all. Like she's done seen, the business that she's in change so many times, and to be able to redirect and bounce back and find a way, around these things and find the way that not just works for her, but works for others, and the hundreds and thousands that she's teaching. I'm really excited to dive into the conversation. But without further ado, let me pass the mic and the camera off to our guest today. We have Summer Tranquil in the building. Summer, tell our listeners a little bit about you and how you got started in the e-commerce space.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. Honestly, I started with online fitness coaching. That was really my first initial entrance into e-commerce. And it's not really e-commerce. I was really just online fitness coaching. So what you would do in person is just training, nutrition, I did online. So that was back in 2016, I believe, like beginning of college. So I was just starting my business. I really just had no experience, but I was on my own fitness journey myself. And a lot of people were coming to me like, wow, I've seen your results. I've seen your success. Can you teach me? And I've always had the entrepreneurial mindset where if I see an opportunity, I'm not going to turn it down, especially if it can, 1, make me money, and 2, impact others. That's really my mission. So I saw that opportunity, and I really then just started posting on social media and started my online fitness company. So that was my first initial entrance into e-commerce. And from there, I scaled it up and I tried to do a lot of different things with it, but I really wasn't knowledgeable. And back then, like YouTube wasn't as poppin' as it is now. You couldn't Google everything and find videos on how to start your business like you can now, and listening to these podcasts. So I didn't have a lot of really wisdom or knowledge in that area. So I wasn't able to scale to the point that I wanted to. And that's when I started reselling and started on Mercari, Poshmark, Facebook, all the apps that I could find. And it was so much work because I was taking pictures, listing, all the stuff that you have to do on those platforms. And then I found Amazon, a few people posting on YouTube. I was like, let me try this. Like, this seems so much more simple. It's the same thing I'm already doing, but it's an easier platform. So that's when I found Amazon. And since then, I've just really been I really dove into the e-commerce space and just done Walmart, TikTok Shop. Now I'm learning more so the advertising, building your own brand aspects for more long term. But yeah, that's a very small part of the story.
Yeah, very small part. And I remember just kind of learning about your story. We haven't even scratched the surface yet, but I want to take a dive back. And you said something how, when you first got started in this journey, like YouTube, was, still on the, up and up, as far as a platform where people can get education and teach themselves certain things. But for you getting into entrepreneurship, who did you have as a person to mirror? Did you have anyone like a mentor or somebody that you can kind of duplicate and emulate, or was this really a journey that you were embarking on by yourself with no previous blueprint to how it's done?
Yeah. So even asking my parents, because I've kind of always been this way of just having ideas, wanting to make money, not wanting to work for someone else. But, I still went that traditional path for a while of going to school, going to college. But from a young age, I was always doing lemonade stands, garage sales, tutoring, any way that I could make money, I was doing it. But as far as fitness and e-commerce, I didn't really have like one specific person that was teaching me. I was just kind of learning from whatever I could learn, and then trial and error was a lot of what I was experiencing. And that helped teach me a lot. So
Yeah.
I think if you don't take action, you'll never learn. So taking action, you learn so much more than you would just watching people, because you can hear all you want, you can see all you want, but until you actually do, you're not going to learn the lessons that you need to learn.
That part, right? Taking action. And I want to touch on that too, because I think that kind of helps us transition right into like the part of your story where you took action and like made a huge leap, moved across country.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you shared that the purpose of moving across the country was to start a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, talk about that experience. Like, where did you fall short at? What were you nervous about? You know, how did you get past those nerves ultimately to be able to make that decision?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think there's a lot of parts to that too. And this was right at the transition part of where I was kind of like, I was at the capacity of where I didn't really want to do online fitness coaching anymore. And I had been looking for other ways like sales, Instagram growth back in 2019 when that was the thing. So I was looking into other opportunities, and there was opportunities brought to me with like network marketing companies and social media growth. So I was like, all right, let's do this. And I basically moved across the country. I met some people and I tried that out. It didn't really work how I thought it was, but it opened up other opportunities for me to just learn about business, learn about other things, because I was so caught up in just fitness that it opened my eyes to so many different things.
What about the fitness didn't work out for you or turned you off to where you wanted to transition out of that work or out of it being your full-time focus?
Yeah, I think for me, it was the lack of just knowing how to scale, because I was just a one-man show at that time. I brought on an assistant coach, but I just didn't have the capacity to kind of be a leader at that point. I was still, I think I was like 18 years old, owning a business where I was making like $30,000 a month was a lot to me at that time. And I didn't know how to scale it past that. And so I think I had about 70 clients. And all by myself was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like my days was just, I had no time to myself.
70 clients though, like pause. I want to pause on that for a little bit, because you're talking about managing 70 people, 70 individuals that are all different backgrounds, different emotions, personalities, and everything like that. Managing them by yourself. Like, how long were you doing that for?
I did fitness coaching for about 3 years.
So 3 years,
Yeah.
Probably maybe to get to 70, maybe you were like a year in, maybe. What would you say?
It was
the
really
timeline?
like 2019, 2020, because everyone was transitioning to online.
Yeah. Because the pandemic was coming. Right. So like, where were you like systems wise to be able to, hold on to it for as long as you did? I mean, because obviously you were doing something right for you to sustain it that long even.
Yeah. I used a platform called My PT Hub.
Okay.
So it's very similar to Trainerize. You can kind of host all your clients in there. You have nutrition plans, you have fitness plans, and you can create templates, and then you can customize it based on the client.
Okay.
And then I was really just running everything through my personal cell phone, which wasn't the best idea as well, because then it was ringing all the time. But yeah, the platform is really where I held all the workouts and nutrition. And then I had a Facebook group for the community.
Okay. Gotcha. So now you're at a point where this was getting a little bit overwhelming. I'm doing this by myself, maybe even, exerting a lot more energy than you like. So you wanted to transition and you moved and you got into network marketing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, and that network marketing opportunity was the opportunity that sparked the move.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. I got so many questions because I have done network marketing before, right? I have done several. And for me, and for those who have never heard the term network marketing, which I'm sure you have, if you haven't, you probably have interchanged it with a phrase like pyramid scheme, which, I mean, I don't like to use because I know the actual power of it. Like not all opportunities are good for everybody, but I do know the network part is huge. You really get to connect with people. That's how I met Ben through network marketing, right?
Wow, that's crazy.
And found out that we had a mutual friend. So I know the benefits. There are pros and cons, but for you, when you told people that you were in this, that you were making this move to do the network marketing, for people who knew about it, for people who didn't know about it, what was like the pushback that you got from it, whether it was from parents, siblings, friends, family, and like, how did you mute it all out? How did you filter it?
Yeah. I mean, this was like 2019, 2020. So like beginning of 2020. And there was a lot going on. So
Yeah.
I think there was less less pushback, but my parents always supported me like throughout the entrepreneurial journey. They didn't support me dropping out of college. That was obviously a hard conversation, but doing this, they were supportive. They were just, make sure you do everything right. Make sure you always have a safety net because you never know. And then I'm always like trying new things, especially being so young. I like to try new things. And so at that time I was trying a lot of different things. And so they were kind of just like, oh, I hope this one works out for her. But yeah, I definitely received a lot of pushback. And then just myself, mainly the doubt, like, is this going to work out? And just being scared, not knowing anybody and like only knowing people through social media. So I'd never even met these people in person and just moved across the country, just hoping to build my dream essentially.
Yeah. And ultimately you shared that it didn't work out. What didn't work out about it? If you could do it again, would you? And if like, what would you change if you had to do it all over again?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't see much success at all, but it did teach me sales. It did teach me to network and communicate with people, which are skills that are just invaluable. And so really helped me transition to the next stage. But it was just tough because you're reaching out to so many people. You're sending voice messages, you're sending DMs, and it's a lot of work. And I wasn't really seeing the return that I wanted to. And just that effort, it was very draining and it just didn't work out for me. I decided not to go through with that.
Yeah. Speak to the ladies really quick too, Summer, about like your experience just like with that and having the sight to see, well, at least I learned the skill of sales. Talk to the ladies about how important sales has made an impact on where you are even now. Because I mean, in all the sales roles that I've been in, they seem to be like male dominated workplaces. Like it was like one or two women that really like owned the floor. There will be a few other ladies that are coming to the organization, but they'll like drop out just because like they didn't see, it being for them. And I'm not saying sales is for everyone, but I do think everyone should have an opportunity to experience sales culture because of the benefits. So if you could speak to like what the benefits were for you.
Yeah, I think it all starts with you have to sell yourself on the belief in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself and you're not selling yourself that you're capable, you're not going to be able to do anything. So I think that really is the beginning, is like you have to sell yourself on your capabilities, because you're not going to believe it until you're actually doing it. And once you're doing it, that creates that confidence, that trust in yourself to do the next bigger thing. But I think females honestly have an advantage in the sales world because, you're communicating with a lot of men there as well. And like men typically don't want to say no to a female. So if you're on a sales call, like their ego is going to make them close more so than if they're on with another male. So I think that's an advantage that we have as females. Unfortunately.
I say fortunately, like everything you're saying, I'm like, yes, go on. Yes, you're right. For sure.
But definitely like the workplace in general, especially the entrepreneur space is, I feel, more male dominant, but females are definitely getting up there. It's just really that belief that we can make it ourselves and not have to be dependent on somebody else. Yeah.
Now, would you say that sales should be, if you are, a woman trying to get into entrepreneurship, would you say that sales should be their first stop? Like getting a job in sales, getting experience in sales is the first stop?
Absolutely. Sales is so good because you learn so much and everything is sales. You go to the restaurant, it's sales. You're buying clothes, it's sales. You're doing a service or you're going to a doctor, it's sales. Like they're selling you on what they can provide you. So that's basically what our world is made up of. Like you're selling someone on yourself, even in a relationship. So everything is sales. If you can learn that, you're basically golden for anything.
Now, would you say you were first introduced to sales through the network marketing?
Yeah.
Okay. If you could reflect on like the things you were doing, because people see you now as this entrepreneur and people are inspired to, to get to where you are now, but you weren't always in that position, right? So if you could reflect on the gigs, the side hustles, the jobs that you've had in the past that in hindsight, you're like, okay, I got this skill from that. I got this skill from that. And all these skills put together are why I'm dominating my space now.
Yeah, I love that. So there were so many things that I tried in the beginning. Fitness coaching, fitness itself taught me, discipline. It taught me drive. It taught me what I was capable of. I also did competition. So that kind of helped me build up like the skill set of discipline, habits. So that transcended over into business and what I do for myself now on a daily basis. But I also started a booty brand, like a resistance booty bands. So I sold those for a while. I tried eyelashes. But again, everything that I tried in the beginning was a lack of resources, a lack of knowledge, and I didn't have the money to invest either. So it was just kind of defeating in a sense. And I would invest and then I would bring a bad business partner into it, and then it would, essentially mess up everything. And I think it was a little disbelief that I could do it by myself without somebody else. So that I did learn e-commerce from, the booty brands or the booty band brands. The eyelash brands, I learned how to communicate with wholesalers, how to find, good selling products, what like people were looking for, branding, logos. And, I've sold programs before, digital products. So I learned a lot, like how to use Canva, how to use ClickFunnels, how to use Go High Level, a lot of different softwares that are needed for that. And I mean, there's so many things that I've tried, and e-commerce has always been like the basis for me. It's always been what stuck and what made sense and what I saw the most future in.
Yeah, I love that answer on a lot of different ways, because one, it brings up or it highlights all the things that you've tried and are no longer doing, right? And from the outside looking in, some people might say, oh, wow, these are a whole bunch of like failed businesses or failed attempts. But like, if you get the outcome that you have now, which is, the success that you're having, I don't look at any of those as failures. I just look at them as like opportunities to learn and like learning and lessons that you've learned along the way, and necessary failure. Like, I don't want to say failures, but they were necessary because you had to kind of like fall to figure out like how to fix it. You had to break to figure out how to fix it. Yeah. So like give some advice for people who are struggling to try something new, who are in this rat race, doing the same things over and over again, expecting a different outcome, when maybe the boost that you need is, if you're in cosmetology, to maybe go over into fitness, or if you're in fitness, to maybe go over into production, or like whatever it may be, but just trying something different, because you tried a lot of different things.
Yeah, I tried so many things, and everything I enjoyed doing and I learned so much from, but something is going to stick. You just have to try, because it might not be the first thing. And it does feel defeating. Like, you invested all this time to learn, you invested this money potentially to, get started. But if it doesn't work out, just know you learned a skill from that. And that's so powerful. And it's going to get you to the next place. And maybe you'll meet someone who needs your skill that you learned. And then that helps you get into the next room. But I think the more that you can offer, the more that you're going to level up as well, because you'll network and you'll connect with people who need what you have that they don't have, because you did, you tried those things and you learned that skill set from that. But overall, just taking action is the biggest thing, because so many people delay it because they're scared of failing. They're scared of it not working out. And you kind of have to go into it thinking that it's not going to work out. And you're going to it's not going to be an overnight success, or it's going to be the next step to what you're really meant to do.
So when you're met with a decision that you have to make, what's your thought process like? Are you, because you say take action, but are you just like, I have to take action, I have to take action now? Like, is it planned out? How much time are you giving yourself to plan this thing out before you make the decision? What's your process behind that?
Yeah. I'm a pretty quick decision maker. It doesn't always work out the best for me, but it gets me far and it gets me there fast. But I'm learning to kind of take a step back, think about it a little bit deeper. And I think any decision that I have to make, I think like, all right, if I were to make this decision every day for the rest of my life, where would I be? And if that decision is to procrastinate, if I made that decision every day for the rest of my life, I'm not going to be anywhere.
Wow.
So for me, it's like, okay, even if I do this fast, I make the mistake, I'm still going to learn. And that's going to set me up.
That feedback was very similar to, we heard another guest a couple episodes back mention, like, he asked himself, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And it's like, if the worst thing that can happen is like you lose a little bit of money, he's going to make the decision every time. Because like you said, and like I'm sure you lost money, but you also made that money back. Yeah. You're going to lose money a lot of times. And, you can't guarantee to anyone that stepping into this business, you're not going to lose some money. And speaking of money, you mentioned how like a couple of the reasons why you failed in your other businesses was just not having the money to invest.
Right.
Let's talk about going into debt for a business. Like, when is it too? Granted, everybody's different. Everybody has a different threshold and pain tolerance for how much debt they can take on. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to going into debt for a business, i.e. credit cards, loans, borrowing from family and friends, like, what would be your advice from the mistakes that you've made and the things that you've seen and done right? What's the best way to go about it for funding this business, especially if you don't have the cash on hand, but you really see the vision, you really have a plan? What was your boiling point, I guess? Let's start with that.
Yeah, that's a good question. For me, like, my parents always told me never get credit cards. So I didn't have a lot of knowledge when it came to credit. So I initially maxed out all my credit cards, and
despite them saying never get a credit card.
Right. So I met someone who was like, I can get you like, $15,000 in credit. And I was like, great, let's do it. And I ended up, using that for rents, using it for things that wasn't really my business. So that was a mistake I made in the beginning. And so I had to recover from that. But overall, investing into your business, I think it comes down to understanding money and how it works. And money is energy. It doesn't really exist. So if you see it like that, you're going to be willing to invest into your business more, because if you're putting that energy into your business, it's going to come back to you. It's essentially an exchange. If you think about it, the money in our banks doesn't actually exist. That's why we have a withdrawal limit. We have a limit of a certain amount each day, is because they're using your money to make them more money.
Yeah.
So if they're doing that, and that's where my money is existing, which is in thin air, being used by other people, I can use that for my business to make me more money, essentially. So as long as your business is a income producing business, which it should be, I mean, as long as you look at the logistics and you see the potential in it, I say invest and just go for it, because it's going to also put you in a position where you have to make it work.
Yeah. When you say money is energy, I really like that term, because as I reflect on it, I look at, like, one, energy can't be created nor destroyed. It just is. But I'm looking into, like, the energy that I put into my business. Some of us put so much energy into our businesses because we have a hard time delegating, bringing on team members, and we're doing everything, so much so that we probably focusing on tasks we have no business doing as the business owner, right? So when you think about what money can do, money can alleviate your energy spend on this one thing. Like, if you're doing one thing and you can throw money at it, you just regain so much more energy to put into your business in another space that really needs that energy.
Exactly.
So that's kind of like what I think about that. And I love that phrase. When is money, because you got energy, is bad energy and good energy. When has money for you been, like, casting bad energy into your life or into your business, and how did you kind of, like, turn it around or avoid it from happening again?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I was hustling for like 5 years and I was barely making it. I was negatives in my account for a long time. And then things finally started to pick up after like 5 years. And I think if you're not grounded in your foundations, you can really lose sight of your purpose and why you are making money in the first place and what that can do for you. So I made my largest month and I was the most unhappy I'd ever been. And it's because I lost sight of my purpose and what I was really making that money for. Because once you have that much money, like, you can buy anything, you can get anything you want. And so at that point, it's like, why? Like, what is my why? And so I lost sight of that. And that was pretty dangerous. So I ended up actually moving out of country for like 2 months to just kind of find myself again. And then I redialed in on my purpose, and then I was back to it. But I really had to focus, and, I kind of hit my highest month and then hit like my lowest months. I was still, running my business and stuff, but I needed to take a step back and just focus on what I was really doing. And yeah, that was a hard time, because I had everything I ever dreamed of, but I wasn't happy.
What do you think caused you to lose sight of the purpose? Was it the fact that you were hustling for so long, for those 5 years, with not the return that you expected? Or was this kind of after you started getting a return, and you lost sight? Like, what was the switch that made you lose sight of that purpose?
Yeah, it was after I started, seeing the return. It was a couple months, and then I hit my highest month, and it was just like, it was almost unreal. Like, it still didn't feel real for me, but I was still doing the same thing. Like, nothing changed. And so I was like, I have all this money, but nothing changed really. Like, I can buy whatever I want now. I feel financially free, but nothing really changed.
Was it, do you think maybe internally, just because you had to hustle for so long after 5 years, it's like, once you started getting, it's like, I deserve this now, and I deserve this, and I deserve that. And then next thing you know, you got a year of you saying, I deserve this because I want it, because I haven't had it for so long that like, I'm just trying to dive a little bit deeper because I know a lot of people will relate to that.
Yeah, it was like I was buying things for myself, and I was also giving back, but it just didn't feel like it was coming from the right place. Like, it was almost like, I feel like I need to do this because I have this money now. It wasn't so much from my heart. But yeah, I think it was just like realizing that these material things don't make me happy, and just chasing money doesn't make me happy. So I love working. I love hustling. I love accomplishing things. So it was almost like I accomplished what I wanted, and I had to set higher goals, which was a scary, uncomfortable thing that I wasn't ready to do either. And yeah, just taking that step back really helped me set higher goals.
So you made the move for 2 months out of the country. What was that experience like? How did it help you reground yourself? What did you experience while you were over there? What switched while you were over there?
Yeah, so I moved to Mexico for like 2 months. It was right on the water, so it was nice and peaceful, very touristy spot. But like, the culture there is, it was really humbling. Like, I had to walk and take my laundry down the street. I couldn't, hire someone to do my laundry anymore. So it was a lot, like, really humbling, like realizing what I did have. And I had so much more than like I could even imagine. And going there really humbled me because I saw like how, the culture is, like how certain people were living. And it made me just really thankful for everything.
Yeah, I would imagine something like that is humbling, having to walk your bags of laundry. I mean, in like here, I think we're just so used to seeing and wanting everything now, which is kind of like the energy that goes out there when it comes to like selling online. Like, people want everything now. And I think Amazon is a part of that because they have this 1 to 2 day shipping to where now people expect things now, and that translates now into other things as well, like business. People want results now. Where are you with your, I guess, the people that you help? Is that the consistency as well? Like, are people looking for like overnight success, and how do you redirect them to kind of see the end goal? Because this is not an overnight success thing, right?
No.
You talked about 5 years having to do, the work that you were doing, 5 years of hustling, the many different businesses you had to try. How do you redirect, those that have the mindset of going into e-commerce to make money now? Because it's just the internet is vast. Like, it's an instant thing.
Yeah. That's, I can answer that a few different ways, but because e-commerce kind of is like an instant success. Like, you see sales all the time, but it does, like, you have to look at the long-term picture, because you could just, buy an item and sell it and you get that instant success. But like, long-term, if you want to do that at higher scale, like, you need certain things. You need foundations. You need to like network and meet other businesses, wholesalers, whatever it might be. So yeah, you could buy a couple products, you could sell it, you could make a quick $100, and it does, like, that adrenaline is there. Like, you see that and you're like, wow, I could do this. But you do have to look at it as like a long-term thing. Like, where do you really want to go with that business? And with e-commerce, that's where our world is transitioning. Everyone's transitioning to e-commerce. I mean, retail stores are going out left and right. So that's really where our next, the next 10 years, 20 years is going to be mainly online. So that's why I think it's so powerful to sell online, because that's where it's heading.
Yeah. So, all right, break it down for us. Like, what is e-commerce? For those that hear it, I feel like that term can be used loosely, and it's so, because it's so broad, I don't think people really understand the power of e-commerce. What is it to you, and the benefits, and I guess give us like a forecast of where you're seeing e-commerce going in over the next couple of years.
Yeah, e-commerce is so powerful. I mean, everyone orders online. They want the convenience. They want it fast. They want what they want. They don't want to have to go shop in store and try on an outfit or pick what beauty product they want. Like, if they see an influencer post about it, they're probably going to try it. it makes it that easy, and they can order online, makes it convenient.
Mm-hmm.
So especially after 2020, I think we all saw how powerful Amazon was. It was the biggest platform and one of the main businesses still running amidst all the pandemic. So if it can do that during a pandemic, what is it going to do now that we're back to normal and the future as we start to innovate and get even
Mm-hmm.
bigger? I mean, even now TikTok Shop is opened. And for me, I see the power in that. It's unreal because I'm thinking, okay, I'm never going to purchase from TikTok Shop personally, but I'm thinking about like 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds who are on TikTok all the time. Are they really going to go to Amazon and purchase something? No, they're probably going to purchase on TikTok because they're already there. So I'm seeing from the next generation, like, okay, that's the generation that's coming up. And that's where it's most likely going to be headed because the older people like myself, even though I'm not that old, but I'm in this different mindset where I would never buy on TikTok Shop. But that's really where everything is headed because it's going to make it even more convenient. If they're already scrolling, watching their friends, they can also purchase on that platform. Why would they go to another platform?
It's so funny you say that too because I shared the same sentiment once, right? I said I'm never going to buy nothing off of TikTok Shop. It's a scam, right? Until I did, and I was very shocked. I was very surprised by the experience. I follow a lot of like creatives on TikTok. So like my Explore and For You page is like full of like videography and production stuff. And so I kept seeing like toys and gadgets. I'm like, yo, that's dope. I want to see. And I fell into the trap and I was really surprised on the experience that I got from it. And I second what you're saying, like that because of how easy and convenient it is for someone to watch a video, now they have it even linked in the video where you can just click a button, the product pops up, you hit pay, and then boom, the product's on its way to you. And then now, every time you're on the app, you can even get updates on your order. Yeah. So it's like everything you need is in place. Like you got your entertainment here, you swipe to the left, now you got your orders and stuff here. It's like super convenient. So with that said, I too see the power of it. Yeah. Is that like a direction that you're like training some of your mentees to kind of focus on TikTok Shop?
Absolutely. And that's where I myself am trying to build a brand in the back end to launch on TikTok Shop. It's just so powerful for businesses because at first I saw the same thing. I was like, these are just a bunch of like Chinese products on here. But that was like in August. And then I was like, wait, this is like actually, they're pushing this so much because they're actually trying to compete with Amazon. If you think about it, it's like, the biggest company in China is like Alibaba and they have all that. So, and TikTok is a Chinese company. So it's like, they're really going to try to push and be the best in the world as well. So I started seeing name brand products on there. I was like, hold up, I buy these brands. I thought it was just like these private label products. And so now actual brands are going on TikTok Shop because they can pay an affiliate 10%, 15% commission, and they don't have to run ads. Like that affiliate is just bringing them sales. So it's really like 10% of their product price is what they're paying instead of thousands of dollars into ads, not knowing maybe if it's going to convert or not.
Right.
So people just trust these influencers so much more now, especially the younger generation. They look up, they follow the videos every day, and they're going to purchase more likely from them than maybe a random product that they see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really pushing that. I'm teaching it and helping people also jump on TikTok Shop and really any e-commerce platform because it's just that powerful.
What do you see like a specific type? Like, are there specific types of products that you think will like perform better on a platform like TikTok than others?
Yeah, I mean, beauty products have been going crazy on TikTok Shop. I mean, a lot of the influencers are more females on TikTok Shop, I feel like. So they're doing, tutorials, hair tutorials, makeup tutorials. So they're doing a lot of product pushing in the beauty category.
That makes sense. You even saying that, it kind of, I'm thinking like any type of product that is related to content that people are putting out, which it made sense why I found the product that I found, because like it was a review of like this content creator.
Yeah.
So like any types of products that people are using to make content, and granted you can make content around any type of product, but then you can tell when it's like forced and it looks like an ad.
Yeah.
I think that the difference is, and it's so funny because we had this conversation a few weeks back, is the content that's more so like user generated, like everyday people using these products on an everyday basis, that makes it seem so organic. I think that's where the real power is, because then, like you said, you don't have to worry about ads because you're putting all of your you're putting your brand behind these content creators that are pushing millions of views to your product organically.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
powerful.
It's so powerful because if you think about it, if you know, like, and trust the person, you're going to buy from them.
Mm-hmm.
So for a website and a product-based brand to do that in itself, you have to pay influencers, you have to do all this stuff to build that up. But if you can just give someone a product, they post about it, they're happy because they're making money. Now you have that like trust and they know that influencers. So your conversion rate is going to be a lot higher.
Mm-hmm. I could see this being really powerful for, parents with kids that want to spend more time with their kids.
Yeah.
Just people who want to spend more time for themselves, people who enjoy traveling. Stuff like this is needed because you don't have to be in one place for this to work.
Yeah, even if you're creating your own product, you really don't have to have that product in-house. You could have a third-party logistics center hold your products and then they ship it out to the customers. You just have to initially, build that product or find a company that can drop ship that product for you. But if you like TikTok Shop, they are cracking down. So they want you to have either the brand direct approval, like authorization, or you be the actual brand owner. So in the beginning, a lot of people were doing drop shipping, but what happened was everyone was selling the same product from the same drop shipping site. So it was confusing for customers. Like there's 30 of the
Which
same
one's
products.
The real one?
Exactly.
And then they're priced differently. Gotcha.
So they started cracking down and, if anything looks suspicious, they shut down TikTok Shop stores. So now you have to really be the brand owner or like an authorized reseller of that product.
So in that scenario, would you say that drop shipping is kind of like a dying art now?
People still do it on Shopify. Sorry. They still do drop shipping on Shopify, which is still 100% legal. But again, you'd still have to brand it essentially to, whatever your brand name is, your company website is. I haven't personally done that. And I do think it is dying because more people are building their brands up and like it can happen faster now. Like if you have a brand and you're building it, your success can be a lot higher because you have TikTok Shop, Amazon, Walmart, where you can promote these things. Whereas, 6-7 years ago, there weren't really as many influencers where you could blow up a product just off a post.
I guess I'm still trying to wrap my head around like, what does it mean? Like, what does drop shipping mean? How is that different? Because that still falls in the category of e-commerce, right? So like, if drop shipping is one thing, what's the other thing that I guess you would be doing that makes a little bit more sense for the everyday person? Yeah.
So drop shipping, people used to do it on Amazon, Walmart, but they ban it now. So you can't drop ship on there. But essentially when people were doing it on those websites, they were doing it with name brand products. So they would put a product on Amazon for like $30. They would source the product from like Target for like $13. And then when the customer purchased on Amazon, they put their information into the Target order and then Target ships it out to the customer. But like these people are getting Target boxes or Walmart boxes when they ordered on Amazon. So that made Amazon look bad.
That's confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, like if you're drop shipping on Shopify, you're going to have your brand. So you're going to have, your name, whatever it might be, Wholesale Deals. And then you're selling beauty products. And then you're sourcing it from like Alibaba or CJ drop shipping. And then you can drop ship it once someone purchases it and then drop ship it to the customer. So you can do that on Shopify, but Amazon, Walmart, like for name brands, you can't. You'd have to do wholesale. And that's more so what I teach. So
wholesale, which is buying in bulk, buying name brand products in bulk. Either they get shipped to you or they get shipped to
Amazon or Walmart,
and then they fulfill.
Yeah. That's the easiest entry because, you don't have to build this credibility. You don't have to start a brand. You don't have to buy thousands in inventory. You don't have to build a website. It's the easiest entryway into e-commerce because these brands have already built up that credibility. So you're essentially connecting to them, getting approval to resell their products, and then you're selling on the biggest shopping platform in the world, Amazon and Walmart. So they already have the customer base. So really, you're just the middleman.
So what stops these name brand products from just doing that themselves? Like just wholesaling their stuff directly to Walmart and Amazon.
A lot more brands are hopping on that for sure.
Okay.
So I would say when I started Amazon in 2020, it was way easier to sell name brand products because nobody really knew you could be a third-party seller on Amazon. But now I think more so because there are these, gurus, people posting about the products on Amazon, that brands are catching on and they're doing it themselves. So it is a lot harder to find brands that aren't on Amazon and Walmart, but it's not impossible.
Gotcha.
Like there's still a lot of brands that they don't even want to deal with that because it's a lot of work.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And now I could see how it definitely will be an easier entry than for the everyday person. But what does like the investment look like if you are going to be wholesaling and buying these products in bulk? On average, like what would you say will be the typical investment that somebody needs to have set aside, so that they're at least aware before jumping into this?
Yeah, I would say 1,500 to 2,000 is a good starting point. Obviously, the more you have, the better deals you can get, the better pricing you can get, the more opportunities you're going to have. And you could always get business credit. And like we were talking about earlier, that good debt where these products are going to sell out in 3, 4, 5 weeks. You can put that on your credit card, your business credit card, and then you'll be able to pay it off. And then you just pocket that profit. So I would say cash, like 1,500 to 2,000. And then if you have credit cards, even better.
Would you say, what are some red flags? No, I don't want to say red flags, but what are some obstacles that from you been there, done that, people should look out for when entering the market that can kind of take you aback or maybe even put a pause in your business for some time if you're not prepared?
Yeah, I think just the changes of e-commerce, it's changed so much over the years, and I've been in the industry so much. So I see what the changes are. I personally still have a mentor for Amazon because I want to be up to date on everything. Maybe I'm not catching something. And so really being up to date on the changes, because Amazon's changing, Walmart's changing, TikTok Shop, they're all always going to make new rules to make it either better for them, most likely better for TikTok or Amazon to be more profitable. So, we have to kind of work around that because we don't own the platform. So I think the biggest thing is people go about it thinking they can do it just off of YouTube videos and Instagram or whatever they're seeing, but having a community where other people are doing it too. And so maybe they're going into they're, failing at something or learning something, and you haven't gotten there yet, or you're about to get there, and you can avoid making those mistakes if you see somebody else in the community have that problem or, that failure. So you're learning from them or a mentor. So I think that's really valuable in just minimizing your risks, minimizing your mistakes.
Gotcha. So, kind of circling yourself around the right people, finding a community, being a part of that community, just so you can kind of prepare yourself for those things when they come, because you can't really avoid them. They are, and you're right. You don't own the platform, so it's you can't really get mad at Amazon, Walmart, TikTok, whoever, for creating regulations that are, one, going to make the experience better for their consumers, and two, make sure that they can make some more money.
Right.
I mean,
can't blame them.
Yeah, you can't blame them, right? Because you would want to do the same thing. That said, I mean, are you still if you're doing it one method is over here, are you still building your own website for people to buy these products outside of going to them as well? And maybe how does that work so that you're not solely relying? Because one day, what if they just say no more third-party vendors, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, that could happen, honestly. So I think just building your own brand is powerful because no one can control that. It's in your own hands. So you having the products and everything at your fingertips and your control, your ownership is so much powerful looking 10 years from now. Do I want to sell my business for millions of dollars? With name brands, you probably can't sell your business unless you have a lot of direct brand approvals, and that takes time to build up. So there is potential to sell an Amazon business for sure. You just have to have a lot of these connections, which is going to take 5-10 years to build. But if you have your own brand, your revenue is $3 million a year, you can sell that brand and exit a lot quicker than you could selling name brand products. And then again, you're in control. Nobody can take that away from you. So if you have that customer base, these recurring customers, and you can really sell on your own website or Shopify, worst case.
Yeah. It sounds like going there, the first route we've been talking about is a good entry route, and then a good way to build up the capital, get the experience until you're ready to build your own brand, you know, get your own website and sell your own products. Because that's even the direction that you're transitioning to, or have already transitioned to, correct?
Yeah.
Got you.
Definitely. So yeah, first barrier to entry, that's the best way to build up capital and just learn e-commerce. And that skill, you can transcend into all other platforms, and anything that e-commerce kind of comes out with, it's all under the same foundation. So if you learn the skill set, you're going to be able to do pretty much anything else as far as e-commerce goes. And e-commerce is just selling online. So if you learn how to sell online, that skill set can last you forever.
Yeah. This reminds me about like getting like apprenticeships, or like what the purpose of the real purpose should be when people are getting jobs, like to get that experience so that they could get into the field that they really want to get into. Like a lot of people on one hand want to become entrepreneurs, but never seen the operations of the business that they're trying to start for themselves. So then we end up failing. Where this kind of like, you get into the e-commerce space, you know, trial and error of, you know, someone else's platform, someone else's products. You're just kind of like the middleman and facilitating. You pick up the skills, you learn the market, and then boom, you transition to your own products and your own brand that you own and a platform that you own.
Right. Because you see, like, I see all the analytics of all these products. I can see the data from years. So I know what products are selling. I know what people are wanting, and I know where the demand is. So now it's like, okay, I can just recreate this myself. I mean, yes, it's going to be a lot of challenges with that, but that's where, you know, you have to take action and learn in order to get better at it. So
boom, then you got your own brand that has demand. Now all of a sudden you as a brand owner are selling your stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, exactly.
And now just using them as like a distributor. Wow.
Essentially.
That's pretty cool. That is, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know how faceted e-commerce was, but I can definitely see how people without the information could see like this is a scam, right? Because it's like, it's so confusing, especially when you talk about drop shipping. I hear people talk about e-commerce as a scam, but I really feel like it's just a lack of information that people have.